Shocker, I'm not going to recommend Kilimani. Kilimani is going through growing pains, and it's happening so fast with this development that I think within 2 years it'll be done because there will be no more space to build. And long-term residents of Kilimani are not happy because of the noise from the construction, and the buildings are going up so close together. It's wild what's happening in Kilimani right now. In addition to that, you have all of these construction loading vehicles where there's all this construction material on the vehicle. It's overloaded. It weighs too much for the roads. So now the roads are jacked. Some of the roads in Kilimani is just like, this is ridiculous. How is so much money going into these buildings and nobody is thinking about how their potential client, customer, tenant is supposed to get in and out of this building? It's really bad. Welcome to BLAXIT to Africa. I'm Tadre Delora Monye, a California native living my best life in Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you so much for coming along for the ride. I hope that you are informed, entertained, and inspired to BLAXIT to Africa. The 10 best neighborhoods in Nairobi for expats, plus 4 bonuses. All right, so if you've watched a lot of these videos about where to live in Nairobi as an expat, one of the neighborhoods that always comes up is Kilimani. Shocker, I'm not going to recommend Kilimani. Kilimani is going through growing pains. I currently live in Kilimani. Technically, I live in a neighborhood inside Kilimani. It's known as Milimani. If you catch a ride share, an Uber, Bolt, or Little, and you tell them Milimani, they know exactly where to take you. Kilimani is a much broader neighborhood. Kilimani is actually a big neighborhood. As I stated, Kilimani is experiencing growing pains, and it's happening so fast with this development that I think within 2 years, it'll be done because there will be no more space to build. So I would say 2 years minimum, 5 years maximum. What's happening in Kilimani is there's so much commercial development, high-rise apartments. I swear, every time I leave my house, I see something new that is going up, that has opened. And long-term residents of Kilimani are not happy because of the noise from the construction, and the buildings are going up so close together. I remember when I was looking for a flat, they were showing me one of the available units, and it was a very popular flat. Like, people are always name dropping, oh, Purple Haze, I stayed at Purple Haze, I live at Purple Haze. And I was like, I need to go and check out this Purple Haze. And it was overhyped, but anyway, the only available unit that was a 1-bedroom was like on the first floor, and it was almost arm's length from another building that was being erected right next door. And I was like, well, what is the benefit of me living here when I open up my balcony and I'm looking at construction? I could literally reach out and touch the next. It's wild what's happening in Kilimani right now. In addition to that, you have all of these construction loading vehicles where there's all this construction material on the vehicle. It's overloaded. It weighs too much for the roads. So now the roads are jacked. Some of the roads in Kilimani is just like, this is ridiculous. How is so much money going into these buildings and nobody is thinking about how their potential client, customer, tenant is supposed to get in and out of this building? It's really bad. Really bad. So I'm not recommending Kilimani anymore for people to move to unless you're in Milimani, unless You are able to find a small pocket within Kilimani that still has tree-lined streets. It's still quiet. Those are still available. And if you have a good real estate agent, they can direct you. So I have these neighborhoods in alphabetical order, and I'm going to talk about the vibe of each neighborhood. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons. Is it walkable? Is it quiet? Is it more so for singles or families? Are there schools, international schools in these areas? Shopping and nightlife for each neighborhood. All right. First one is Gigiri. You know. Gigiri. So, if you got the moolah, by all means, oblige. You know what I'm saying? Level up. So the vibe in Gigiri, it's giving upscale and serene. And it's where the UN is located, the Canadian Embassy, the US Embassy. You have all of these embassies in Gigiri that represent developed nations. There are embassies in my neighborhood. Some of them are not developed nations. But, whatever floats your boat, I'm fine where I am, but I'm just trying to paint a picture. It's very close to the village market. There's a large diplomatic scene there, a hub there. The cons. I can't really think of any cons about living in Gigiri. Let's see what GPT says. High property costs, for sure, you're going to pay to play. And traffic congestion on Limuru. Has that changed? Because I know that there was construction on Limuru. I don't know if that's really dissipated, but honestly, traffic in Nairobi is a thing. The way I move in Nairobi is the same way I moved in LA. I don't move during rush hour. All these events happening right after work, 6 p.m., you won't find me. I'm not going. So, and it says there's limited nightlife options. That's for sure. Although I will say at Village Market, they do a lot of things there. Like there's salsa at Village Market. There's bars, there's restaurants at Village Market. But if you want to turn up, I think you probably have to leave Gigiri. Gigiri's not walkable. If you want to go for a nice stroll, yes. But walking to your amenities, no, it's not walkable. Quiet, yes. Singles, no. There's not a lot of multifamily housing, meaning apartments, maisonettes, things like that. Gigiri is about estates, large houses. And when I first moved here, I was like, oh, I like it over here. It's near Karua Forest. And I was like, maybe I can get rent somebody's guest house. Mm-mm. I couldn't find nothing because the people that live over there, they're usually diplomats or just moneyed up. They don't need to rent out no guest house. You know what I'm saying? So I would say that it's very family friendly. And the schools in the area, international schools, are Rosslyn Academy, has an American curriculum, Christian school offering education from preschool to 12th grade. Shopping. There's lots of shopping in Gigiri. I love the Gigiri Craft Center, where there's just containers full of different restaurants, cafes. There's a boutique over there that I like. Then you've got the mall. You've got Tribe Hotel, which has an amazing sushi restaurant and bar at the top. So, that's also a little bit of nightlife as well. And yeah, I think I covered Gigiri. Moving on to Karen. Karen technically is outside of Nairobi, but it's right there. You know what I mean? Like you're in the suburbs, but you're literally like right next to Nairobi. So the vibe of Karen is giving suburban for show. And there's a lot of Kenyans in Karen that are descendants of British and Dutch. You've also got a sizable Kikuyu and Maasai community there as well. And from what I've gathered, Karen is a place where Black Kenyans, for lack of a better word, really aspire to live. Karen is a place where Kenyan politicians live. So let's get into it. The pros: it's quiet, it's serene, it's spacious homes, international schools. very green. And Karen also is encompasses the national park, or part of the national park is in Karen. So that's nice as well. What are the cons? I can't think of any cons about Karen off the top of my head. Let me see what ChatGPT says. Distance from the CBD and high costs. That I would say the moneyed Kenyan, the middle upper Kenyan or upper middle class Kenyan is not going to the CBD on a regular basis anyway. I go to the CBD because it's walking distance from my house and I like a good bargain. And having worked in retail for so long, once I know the price of something, it's hard for me to pay retail. So I can go to the CBD and get wholesale. Karen is not walkable. Again, if you want to go for a nice stroll, yes, but to walk to your major amenities, no. It's definitely quiet. Is it for singles? I do have one client who is single who lives in Karen. However, for the most part, it's very family oriented in terms of the size of the properties there. The international schools that are present, Hillcrest has the British curriculum, and then there's the Netherlands School Society, which offers Dutch and English education. There's a lot of shopping in Karen for sure. And the nightlife, as far as I know, as someone who doesn't live in Karen, I don't see a whole lot of nightlife happening. What Karen does have is restaurants. One of my favorite restaurants, Cotiva, is in Karen. All right. I stand 7 toes down with Cotiva. Okay. Um, Now, from what I understand about the nightlife in Karen, people that live in Karen or younger people that live in Karen, they do a lot of house parties. They do a lot of gatherings on their compound, really elaborate. They'll have somebody on the barbecue, on the grill, they'll have bartenders, music, live performance, but it's really like an enclave, if you will. So y'all know I offer BLAXIT consultations, right? After this last election in the US, a lot of y'all looking to leave. So I just want to put it out there that I am who I say I am, and I do what I say I do. Let me just read to you one of these reviews that I received from a BLAXIT client. Tadra was prompt in her response and adept in her knowledge of Nairobi from an expat perspective. She presented information in a professional and personal manner, which really increased my comfort level to the extent that I felt I could ask her nearly anything regarding life in Kenya. The takeaway materials have assisted me with tailoring my itinerary and having a more productive stay. She also followed up in order to make certain that things were going well. This is me. This is what I do. I really want to be of help. I've been here for quite some time in East Africa and can guide you. All right, moving on to Kileleshwa. Now, Kileleshwa is right next to Kilimani. So a lot of that construction in Kilimani is spilling over to Kileleshwa. And I need to say this for people who are from major global cities and you're used to sound pollution, that helps you get to sleep. You're used to congestion. You may be used to walkable cities. You might like a Kileleshwa. You might like a Kilimani, even with all of its growing pains. So I'll just leave that there. The vibe in Kileleshwa is giving Silver Spring. If you're from the DMV, you know what I mean. It's very much mixed use. In fact, in both Kilimani and Kileleshwa, there was a crackdown on the night noise pollution coming from the lounges and the bars. And a lot of places had to quickly erect like soundproof barriers to prevent from getting shut down, because you'll have a lounge or a bar that will turn up until the wee hours of the morning right next to a house. The pros is centrally located, vibrant lifestyle, relatively affordable apartments, definitely walkable, and close to a lot of amenities. The cons, again, is the development, and it tends to be rather densely populated. I think I said it's walkable. Is it quiet? No. Kileleshwa. Mm-mm. Kileleshwa is not quiet. Um, Definitely for singles. Uh, for families, you could probably find maybe a 4-bedroom apartment. There are like I really wanted to do like okay episode for families and episode for singles, but there are people raising their children in New York City, in Tokyo. So if you're somebody who really likes that active city life, you might like it over in Kileleshwa. um, it was much easier for me to find a 2-bedroom than a 1-bedroom apartment when I moved here, because families are larger in Africa, and so the developers are building for those families. I was surprised to find a 4-bedroom apartment available in Nairobi. Now that Nairobi's getting a lot more press, they're expecting more people to move to Nairobi. Developers are actually creating studio apartments and 1-bedroom apartments. Brayside School and Kavina schools are located in Kileleshwa. And shopping for sure, nightlife for sure. Bar Next Door is in Kileleshwa. That's a popular spot. And also there's Samaki, which has really good seafood. And on Saturdays and Sundays, they have live jazz. There's also a great Pan-African bookstore in Kileleshwa that I like called Cheche Books. So there's a lot going on there. Moving on to Lavington. Um, I like Lavington, by the way. The vibe in Lavington is giving the best of both worlds. You can literally exist in your little villa, maisonette, flat, and on a tree-lined street, it'll be super quiet. And then you can also bop over to the social club. You can bop over to the Crafty Chameleon. Um, you can bop over to the mall. It's definitely walkable. The cons, I can't think of any cons about Lavington. Um, ChatGPT says it's expensive. It can be, but I think you can also find something that is priced really well. One of my clients, she found a nice flat in Lavington. People told her she wouldn't, and she did. Um, Traffic, there tends to be traffic on James Kachuru all the time. So that would probably be the con. Quiet, I would say it's semi-quiet. In the commercial district, it has a sizable commercial district, not quiet. But in the residential areas, it's quiet. I think it's cool for singles, cool for families. And Brayside, is it Brayside? And also Rushinga are the international schools located there. Nightlife, for sure. Definitely, Lavington has nightlife. People really love the social house. And the social house has several restaurants. There's a rooftop up there. They usually have like a DJ. There's a percussionist that accompanies the DJ. And like I said, there's also Crafty Chameleon, which is more like it's a microbrewery that serves really good food. And I've never seen them have a DJ though. So that's all I know about the nightlife in Lavington. Auntie don't be out in the streets like that. One of the areas that I don't hear people talk much about is Loresho. So the vibe in Loresho is like just low-key estates, low-key residential estates. It's giving quiet wealth. What is that term that everyone's using? Is it quiet wealth, quiet luxury? It's giving quiet luxury. I can't think of any cons about Loresho. Loresho doesn't have, okay, this might be a con. Loresho doesn't have much of a commercial district, but Loresho bumps right up against Westlands, and Westlands has a massive commercial district. And to be perfectly honest, living in Nairobi, I don't need to leave my house to shop for anything. Everything can be delivered to you. Even if the business does not operate on an app, we have a thing called bodas, motorcycle taxis. And every business has a boda rider they can call to deliver things to your house. And everybody that I know has a dedicated boda rider that can go and pick things up. Every neighborhood has a Boda stand. So I wouldn't necessarily say that's a con. Is Loresho walkable? No. You want to go for a nice stroll. If you like skating, the roads are good enough to where you can probably skate on the roads, do some inline skating. You want to go for a nice bike ride, but walking to your amenities, no, not really. Definitely quiet. Is it for singles? I haven't seen much um, multi-occupancy housing in Loresho, so it's more so for families. Also, there's quite a few embassies in that area. No international schools that I'm aware of. There's one, okay, technically two shopping centers in Loresho, like a tiny little supermarket. One of the old school famous designers, her studio is there. There's a nice bakery over there. There's a cafe over there that people like, a butcher. You get what I'm saying? Just, there's enough to get what you need, but it's not a whole lot happening in Loresho. There's also a cool wine bar over there. No DJ or anything like that. You just go there, drink, chop it up, and the food is tasty as well. Now, getting to my neighborhood of Milimani. I really do enjoy it here. Like for me, the vibe is you're in the city, but not of the city. Like I said, it's quiet over here. The roads are good. When I feel up to it, I can get up early in the afternoon and I could go rollerblading. We're on the president's electrical grid, so we don't lose electricity often. Like it's very rare. And we always have water over here. That's not an issue. I would say the only con to being in Milimani is when the president moves, the roads are just shut down. Traffic stops. And that can happen quite often depending on what's happening politically. During Mandamano, when we was having them protests, we was like quarantined. We couldn't move. We couldn't move. When we left the compound, the guards was like, or not the guards, the soldiers were like, if you leave, do not come back until 7 p.m. So folks just opted to stay indoors. I mean, at the height of Mandamano, I had a lot of difficulty getting home. I just had to tell people, please, I had to tell the soldiers, I just want to go home. And because I'm not Gen Z, they're just like, okay, let her go. But I remember there was a time had to go all the way around my neighborhood. So I would say that's the only con. Milimani is affordable. They say, I'm going to also say that Milimani is relatively safe and secure because of all of the embassies, because of the state house. There's lots of soldiers. It can give you a sense of false security, but for a city, I would say it's on point. And I like the fact that there's so much greenery and monkeys visit us often. Monkeys are like squirrels here, but you don't see them in most parts of the city. But in Milimani, you see the monkeys. And actually, I can't leave my house with the windows open because they might come in. Is it walkable? Is Milimani walkable? For sure, it's walkable. It's quiet, family oriented. Yes, there's maisonettes, there's villas, there's apartment buildings. There's no international schools here, but there is Kyoto. There's definitely shopping. I would say there's more so shopping in Kilimani. There's not a lot of shopping at all, really, in Milimani. Nightlife, there's no nightlife in Milimani, but there's a lot of nightlife in Kilimani. And I think that's part of the reason why so many people are drawn to Kilimani. It's walkable, there's nightlife. At one point it was listed as the coolest neighborhood in Nairobi. But like I said, it's going through growing pains. Let's talk about Muthaiga. Muthaiga, am I confusing it with Gigiri? Those two are like right next to each other. Muthaiga is giving UN vibes. It's definitely upscale, definitely exclusive, very secure. The cons, it's expensive, and it says traffic on Thika Road. I'm not over there often, and like I said, when I move, I only move when there's no heavy traffic patterns. So yeah, Muthaiga is not walkable. It is quiet. For singles, no, there's not a lot of apartments over there. For families, yes. International schools, none, but it's proximate to neighborhoods that have international schools. Definitely shopping for sure. And nightlife, none that I'm aware of, but there is the Village Market, which is one of the nicest malls, if not the nicest mall in Nairobi. And they tend to host a lot of art fairs and like weekly salsa dances, stuff like that. Next on the list, Peponi. People don't really talk about Peponi a lot, but Peponi is giving lush green residences. Again, if you got the moolah, you know what I'm saying? Make it happen. It's exclusive, it's secure. The cons, there's a lot of bottlenecking with the traffic on that side, but it's so lush, it's so green, it's not walkable, it is quiet, more so for families. And there's a Peponi House Preparatory School, which has the British curriculum. And there's no shopping, but you're right next to Westlands. Like your closest mall would be Westgate. And as far as nightlife, I'm not aware of any nightlife. There is a like a secret bar called Revolver. You have to do, use a secret knock to get in. That's about all I know about the nightlife. And they have good restaurants over there. A place you really don't hear about, but I feel like it's underrated, and there's actually a lot of expats over there. Riverside. All right, I'm back. I wanted to put on my noise canceling headphones because we have daily sweepers that sweep the compound, and I think you could hear them. So, where was I? I was talking about Riverside. I really like Riverside. The only con for me to Riverside is that traffic. It's really like only one way. Well, there's two ways in and out. And this it's always a bottleneck. It's always traffic. However, what I like about Riverside, it's giving quiet wealth. It's secluded in the city. There are lots of villas, flats, um, large houses, compounds. And there's also like some cafes there. There's like a French cafe that's really popular that has good breakfast. There's also a supermarket there. Is it walkable? I would say it's pretty walkable to the little bit of commercial activity that's there. Riverside, I think, is also popular because it's adjacent to Westlands. And for a lot of expats who are working for multinational companies, NGOs, they could probably walk to work. First, I think it's a good place for singles and families. No international schools that I'm aware of. As far as nightlife, the only place I know is called Havana. There was a place called Havana that, you could turn up a little bit. But that's the only nightlife that I'm aware of in Riverside. Then there's Rosslyn. You don't hear people talk about Rosslyn often, but if you are, have a family, if you definitely want to be in the city, but you want to be removed from the drama and the noise of the city, Roslyn's a good place. Roslyn's also giving quiet wealth, yet secluded in the city. Um, the issues, they say traffic bottlenecks on Limuru Road and few entertainment options. It's not walkable unless you just want to go for a nice stroll. It is quiet, more so for families, and there's Roslyn Academy, apparently, an American curriculum Christian school offering education from preschool to the 12th grade. There's one little mall. I guess you can get your essentials at that mall. You can get your hair done at that mall, but that's about it. Nightlife, none that I'm aware of. Runda. Now, Runda is a place that was recommended to me by lots of Kenyans. My issue with Runda is that I would need my own transportation. To be fair, all of these areas that I mentioned, if you don't have a car, you can get around easily on a two-wheeler, a scooter, a motorcycle, and Nairobi has tons of rideshare apps, local and international. So getting an Uber, a Bolt, a Little is not going to be an issue for you. But for me, I just don't want to have to call on a car every time I want to go grocery shopping or every time I want to meet up with my friends. So, Runda, that would be the con, is that you would need some sort of transportation. You can find affordable housing in Runda, and that's why Kenyans were recommending it to me. They were like, you get more bang for your buck in Runda. Walkable, I would say no. Quiet, yes. If you live in the residential part, Runda, I think, could be for families and single people as well. ChatGPT is telling me that Brayburn Garden Estate School, part of the Brayburn group offering British national curriculum for students aged 2 to 18, is located there. There's definitely a lot of shopping in Runda. As far as nightlife, I have seen some. Then we've got Spring Valley. I actually like Spring Valley. It is, again, one of those like you're in the city but not of the city. Lots of maisonettes and villas. It's giving almost suburban but not. Like those of you from the DMV area, it's for me, it's giving like PG County. It's serene, it's quiet, it's close enough to Westlands. And the cons, what would be the cons? Spring Valley, the housing can be a bit expensive. Is it walkable? There is a small commercial district in Spring Valley. Maybe not enough. I wouldn't say it's a walkable area. Quiet, more so for family, no international schools, not a whole lot of shopping, no nightlife that I'm aware of in Spring Valley. Then you've got the Gigiri. The Gigiri is giving exclusive wealth, larger homes, more so for families. And the cons, the only con would be that it's not really walkable. There's limited amenities in the Gigiri, but definitely quiet. No nightlife that I'm aware of, no shopping that I'm aware of. Now we get down to the last one. The one, I mean, it's like an expat fave, and that's Westlands. Um, there's life outside of Westlands, y'all. I mean, and I would imagine that most Kenyans watching this would say, well, there's life outside of all of these neighborhoods you listed. It's true. This is specifically for immigrants, specifically for expats. There's so much life outside of these 14 neighborhoods. But you know, expats tend to feel more comfortable in certain neighborhoods, given the amenities, given the infrastructure, given the level of safety, and given, you know, the people around you who look like you. Um, where I live in Milimani, it's mostly Kenyan. And also in my compound, it's mostly Kenyan, though we do have some African diplomats that live here as well. And when I say mostly Kenyan, I mean like Kenyan professionals. And, you know, for me, part of moving, a large part of moving to a new place is being around different people. So, Westlands is super popular amongst expats. I think partly because a lot of the NGOs and multinational conglomerates are located there, so people can literally walk to work. Um, you do get the best of both worlds. You get residential, you also get commercial. For me, it's just not a fave. And maybe because I don't like to do what everybody else is doing, that might be it. But there's lots of restaurants in Westlands. Um, Sarit Center, which is one of the biggest malls, is in Westlands. Sarit Center is like, it's a good combination of maybe a higher end mall combined with your neighborhood mall, so you can get all of your, you know, amenities there, groceries, etc. The cons, it's a lot of people in Westlands, and there can be a lot of traffic in Westlands as well. Definitely walkable, quiet in certain residential areas. family friendly, yes, single friendly, yes. And ISK, the International School of Kenya, is located there. It offers a North American curriculum for students aged 3 to 18. There's also Aga Khan Academy. The nightlife. Folks love, oh my God, why did it just escape me? The name of this club, Alchemist. Folks love Alchemist. When I first came here, I was at Alchemist a lot. Then I looked around and I was just like, it's really young up in here. And I just got tired of the club scene because there was so much escapism happening. So there you have it, the 10 best neighborhoods in Nairobi for expats, plus 4 bonuses. And I want to let you guys know that top of the year, I am working with 2 Kenyan companies to offer relocation services. I'm here for you. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for joining me on this episode of BLAXIT to Africa. If you like what you heard, please share, subscribe, and leave a comment. May you thrive. May you be inspired. May you move with love and intention. Until next time.